Welcome to the Dice Tower, a series of video reviews about board and card games. Here are your hosts, Tom Vasel and Sam Healey.
Hey everybody!
Welcome to the future! 2015.
Oh, I see.
I want my car that flies.
Okay, well, the ancient world is what we're talking about today, which is not the future.
Nope, not
And
even
it's,
close.
actually, it's not even the past. This is some fantasy world where gigantic titans are smashing and destroying everything, and it's your job to stop them.
Silly Titans.
It's actually not as hard to stop them as you might think. Your enemy is actually going to be the other players. Anyhow, let's take a look at how it works. Okay, the goal of this game is to attract tribes to come and join you. When you build different buildings, let's say you build this trade city, you'll have this red tribe come join you. If you defeat this titan here, the blue and the purple tribe will come and join you. And at the end of the game, you're going to get points for the however many of one tribe you have. So 6 is the most, where you can get a lot of points from that. But let's say, so I want to get as many of the same color as I can. So maybe 3 purples and 4 reds will get me points. And that's where most of the points of the game come from. Now players will start, they have 2 militia and city guard here, and they also have wheat fields and a fishing dock. And players also start with some workers that are numbered 1, 2, and 3 in front of them. And on a player's turn, what they're going to do is they're going to take one of these workers and place it in one of these spots on the board. Perhaps this spot up here, I can spend 3 gold to get a knowledge. There are 2 major currencies in the game, gold and knowledge. You can see both of them here. And so if I put a worker here, I can spend 3 gold to get a knowledge token. Now, if I put a 1 here, another player later on can also put a worker here as long as that worker is a higher number. So if I put a 3 here, obviously nobody else can go there. Then maybe later on, someone else wants to go to this spot here, and so they put a 2 there, or I put a 2 there, and later on someone else can also put a 3 there on top of that. As the game goes by each round, a few new spots will open up, including this spot here, which allows you to get more people. You can get a 4 and a 5, which will allow you to place more out. And over here, this spot will open up, which lets you explore. Now, there are many different spots. Most of them have to do with getting money or military. And the reason you need both is down here, you can buy these when you go here. And this is one of the few spots on the board where you don't have to go higher than someone else, but you have to pay a coin if you play a different number. So if I put a 2 here and you put a 2 there, that's fine. But if I put a 2 there and you're putting a 3 there, you would have to pay a coin. And here you see the cost on the bottom of the card. Most of these cost money, although this one here costs money and knowledge. And then you'll put the card into your area below, down here, into your basically your empire. These are called empire cards. And these cards will give you different things. They'll give you benefits. This one here, for example, gives you a coin at the end of every turn. This one gives you a coin and a knowledge, and also gives you a spot where you can put one of your own workers on that spot. Some of them give food. You need food as the game goes by, because food will you need 1 food per each worker each turn. Now, fortunately, you start with that. Your main board gives you a food, and you start with wheat fields and a fishing dock, which give you 2 food, so you're fine. But if you have more workers than food, you'd have to put some workers in this starving area until you get more food, and if they're still there at the end of the game, they're worth -2 points each. You also notice that you have a district of 4. This basically is the number of areas that you can keep over here. I have 2, but if I buy another building, that would be using a 3rd one. If I defeat a titan, that one would use a 4th one. But there is a spot up here where you can buy to expand the size of your district. So you can buy this card here and it will expand the size of my district by 3. You'll also notice down on your main board that you have a certain number of military cards. You can have 2, and you have 2 starting military, but there's also cards that will increase the size of that as the game goes by. Now, when you want to fight a Titan, so let's say I wanted to fight this Titan. There's 3 different Titans at the top of the board. Each of these Titans there's like an easy one, a medium one, and a hard one with different rewards. To fight this Titan, I need a strength of 3, and it can be a mix of daggers and arrows. It might just say daggers, it might just say arrows. So when I want to use my military to fight, I have to put a coin on each military to use them. I basically am hiring my military, and once I hire military a turn, I can't use it. At the end of a turn, this money comes down. Next time, I have to put coins on it that are 1 more than the number of coins already on it. So the next time I use these guys, they would cost 2. And then you can see after that, they would cost 4. So they're going to get expensive after a while to use these guys to fight. There are other places to get, if I put a worker here, I have an extra dagger for the turn. And some buildings that you can build, like for example, this step farm will provide me with a permanent dagger that will be at it. But after a while, I may want to buy more military cards. When I buy more military cards, if I have the room, I can add them as another military unit, or I can replace a unit I have. When you replace a unit, you flip that unit over, and it gives its knowledge and wisdom to the new unit that it's training, so your new unit is going to have a better ability, and this does stack. So later on, maybe I upgrade them to these, I flip this over, so this unit now has 3 daggers and 3 arrows. So there's all sorts of things, and if this one turned over, this one also provides a knowledge, which is pretty cool. So your military units can get better, and you'll have to do that because eventually they'll be too expensive for you to use. And so at the end of each round, you will replace all these buildings that are here. You'll fill in any empty spots for military. At a certain halfway through the game, you'll bring out the B deck, which has much better buildings in it. Like this one here is a double blue. You can put a guy here to give you 2 daggers, and it gives you a coin every turn. Some of the cards in this deck will give you extra points at the end of the game. Like this fortress here gives you extra points depending on how many of the blues you have, so you can get bonus points from that. There's just some really cool ones. This one's a wild. It can match any color for purposes, and at the end of 6 rounds, you're simply going to look at all the camps you have and any bonus cards, minus 2 points for each starving person you have, and whoever has the most points is the winner. One more thing I should mention, when you fight Titans, Titans are a good way to get a lot of flags, and many of the Titans come with extra district areas, so that basically when you put them in your district, they don't take up any room, and sometimes they give special abilities. But when you beat the Titans, you're going to roll a die, 1, 2, or 3 dice. So let's say I beat this Titan here, the Crushing Phoenix, and I roll these dice. Nothing happens here, but here I have to lose a coin. If I roll the Titan symbol here, they're going to destroy or damage one of my Empire areas. So I have to take one of my Empire areas and flip it over, which means it doesn't give me any special abilities until I can repair it. And one of the worker placement spots on the board will allow you to repair it. That same one will also give you the first player token, which is a chance to go first next turn, which can be a big thing in a worker placement game. The Ancient World is produced by Red Raven Games. They did City of Iron and, they're 8-Man Empire. It's kind of an interesting thing because it's a one-man job. He designs, he produces, and he does art.
Pretty cool.
Usually one of those things is lacking. Mm-hmm. Here I think it's there.
Yeah.
Especially the art. I love his art style.
Yeah, very cool. It flows. I love the board, how it has the different landscapes, and they all kind of mesh together. Really cool job on that.
Yeah, so the art is great. This game is essentially a worker placement game. That's the whole focus of it. Yeah, you're trying to build up in front of you, but
it's an exceptionally mean worker placement game, I think.
It is, because you can place a 3 out on your first turn on a spot just to block other players.
Yep.
Now, that will somewhat backfire on you, perhaps, if you want to go somewhere else on your turn, because your 1 and 2 may not be able to be placed.
Right.
Still, though, it's almost always worth doing, I think.
Yeah, it is, because they have those spots on the board where you can put either the 1 or the 2 down, but you just have to pay to do it. So you're still going to be able to use your other people, but you lock in that one that only you can do. So it's definitely worth doing. It's mean, but I think it's a definite tactic that you have to use.
One of the things I like about Red Raven games is they often have a different feel and something unique and different to them. Now, this one has some of the more the same, where it's collect a certain number of banners, the more you get points. Okay.
Yeah.
But the way soldiers worked in this game was really intriguing because as they retire, you turn them over and they like give their wisdom and experience.
Pass along their experience to the next generation. Yeah. No, that is cool. Early on, I really didn't think that would be that cool of a mechanic. I mean, it was interesting, but I was like, whatever. But as the game played out, I saw how more diverse your forces can be from somebody else's forces. I mean, we had one guy that had daggers out the wahoo, and then we had some that were very spread out, a lot of arrows, a lot of daggers, and that type of thing. So I think there's a little bit of a level of diversity there that you can build up as the game goes along. And I think that's pretty interesting.
And you actually could feasibly ignore the Titans and just build a money system and get that going and build a lot of buildings in front of you.
That saps all the fun out of the game.
Well, no, I mean, if 3 people are going for Titans, you might want to go for a different strategy.
Yeah, try something else, right?
I feel like this game is a very tight game. I always felt like I didn't have enough money. I didn't have enough strength to defeat the stuff I wanted to do. Yeah. I didn't have the bright buildings I wanted. I never had enough knowledge.
Or the right kind of strength to beat what you needed to do. Man, that bugged me more than anything. I can't count how many times I was like, okay, I'm going to defeat this Titan. The guy sitting next to me was like, no, you can't. I was like, what do you mean I can't? I got enough. And he was like, no, it has to be Joe Stackers. I was like, okay. But
the game also has a fairly steep learning curve. Your first time playing, you're going to sit there and go, I don't know if this is good building or this is good.
Right.
The second time, you'll be like, I want that.
Yeah. Right. You're going to be clawing for it. First time playthrough, you probably should just go ahead and do what you think is cool. Do what looks interesting to you. And just have fun with it the first time. Don't worry about figuring out a strategy on the first game. Just feel the game out and see how it goes. And then after that, after you're familiar with what the buildings do and how they work together and how they combo and all that kind of stuff, then go for the strategy. But first time through, give it a whirl. Give everything a whirl.
I feel like this is leaning towards the heavier side of worker placement games. It doesn't seem that it's not hard to play.
No.
But it's hard to do well. It really is.
Yeah.
You have to kind of plan out ahead of time what you're going to do, and you have to be prepared. If someone goes to the spot you were going to go to, what are you going to do now? And sometimes it's hard to have a good backup plan.
It almost sounds anathema coming from me, but one of the things that I really enjoyed about the game was how it didn't take a long time. It's only, 6 rounds at most, and those rounds usually go pretty quick. To where there isn't a whole lot of downtime.
No, it's 90 minutes. I think that's reasonable.
Yeah, it is. But I mean, it doesn't feel like a long game, and it really isn't. 90 minutes isn't a long game for me. But I liked how it flowed. It just didn't seem like there was a whole lot of downtime. You're always wondering what everybody else is doing. So that's a positive for me.
Yeah, it's hard to think of any kind of negatives. If I would say negatives, there were times where I just was like, oof, because you just got blocked by somebody. And in some worker placement games, like, let's say Manhattan Project or something,
right.
If you get blocked, there's always other good place to go to. In this game, it's feasible sometimes that there's not, or at least there's secondary places.
And with Manhattan Project, at least there's the hope that you can wait him out and he'll pull his stuff off of those places where you want to go, and then you'll be able to go there. Here, if you don't get it, you're done until the next round. And then you have to reevaluate, do I want to go back there or do I want to try to do something else? So I guess that makes some good choices, I guess you could say, and it promotes that kind of thing, but it can hurt you. It can feel very, very difficult, very hardened as you're going through the game. I mean, that first time where we were like, so if I put my 3 here, that means nobody else can go there, right? And we're all like, oh my goodness, yes, that's right. And then, that was shocking, and so we were like, oh man, that kind of stinks. And we were thinking, man, this is really mean, but he had a good point. Most worker placement games like this are mean because once a place is taken, nobody else can go there. So I don't think it's overly mean, but I think it definitely has a heady aspect to it that probably other games like Stone Age just don't have with it. There's a lot of strategy on this one.
And there's a variety in how the soldiers come up and how the buildings come up, which ones come up, and that changes things too. So I enjoyed the game quite a bit. I'm going to give it 1.5 Titan thumbs up. I think it's a solid game. There's a lot going on, but I would tend to say don't teach new people this game. This is a game, I think, for gamers. I think it's a game that there's a lot going on, and it might look simple, but it's heavier than you might think.
I'm going to give this 1 Eye of Gorgoth up. And that is a pretty good thing. I really enjoy worker placement games. This, I think, was a little bit on the meaner side for me, specifically. I really enjoy games like Stone Age and Manhattan Project, where you can usually do whatever you want to do, and there's not a lot of people trying to stop you from doing that. This one, it creeps up on you a little bit, where people can stop you from doing what you want or maybe even need to do on a certain time. And I'm okay with that, but I don't enjoy it as much as Stone Age or Manhattan. So I'm just going to give it 1 Eye of Vorgoth up.
But don't forget, great art.
Yes.
Innovative.
Very good.
Cool package all around.
Yes.
The Ancient World.
Very good game. You will probably enjoy it.
Thanks so much for watching the Dice Tower videos. Find more great videos and reviews, as well as our top-rated audio podcast at Dicetower.com. You can also find other great shows at Dicetowernetwork.com. I'm Eric Summerer, and you've been watching The Dice Tower. The Dice Tower is sponsored by Cool Stuff Inc., where you can find great games for great prices. Cool stuff in stock. Check them out at CoolStuffInc.com.